And the recording's been started.
Great, thank you. So good evening. We're on the record in the matter of encroachment permit application L96S 691E. The applicant is Laurence Smith. My name is Eric Wilson. Again, I'm the Resource Protection and Assistance Bureau Chief with the Idaho Department of Lands and the hearing coordinator in this proceeding. It is 6:06 Pacific time on June 9th, 2021. We're conducting this hearing by video conference and in person at our Idaho Department of Lands office in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. This is the scheduled time and place for IDL hearing number PH-2021-PUB-20-001. Please make sure all phones are in the silent mode and that your computer and phone are muted until it is your turn to speak. This hearing is related to Laurence Smith's encroachment permit application to modify the commercial marina in and adjacent to Lake Pend Oreille. The Idaho Department of Lands is responsible for administering the Lake Protection Act, Idaho Code Title 58, Chapter 13, which states the legislature of the state of Idaho hereby declares that the public health, interest, safety, and welfare requires that all encroachments upon, in, or above the beds or waters of navigable lakes of the state be regulated in order that the protection of property, navigation, fish and wildlife habitat, aquatic life, recreation, aesthetic beauty, and water quality be given due consideration and weighed against the navigational or economic necessity or justification for or benefit to be derived from the proposed encroachment. No encroachment on, in, or above the beds or waters of any navigable lake in the state shall hereafter be made unless approval therefore has been given as provided in this act. So pursuant to this statute, Laurence Smith must obtain an encroachment permit from Idaho Department of Lands. My responsibility is to consider the application and the written record, to take public comment, and determine whether or not the proposed encroachment meets the applicable statutes, rules, and case law. I will then issue a preliminary order, which will be reviewed by the director of the Department of Lands. He will then issue a final order no more than 30 days after conclusion of the hearing. The department has provided me with the agency record, which consists of the encroachment permit application package, including the documents the department received on March 18th, 2021. The March 19, 2021 notice of application, which was sent to Idaho Departments of Fish and Game, Environmental Quality, Resources, Transportation, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Bonner County Parks, Recreation and Waterways, Bonner County Marine Division, Bonner County Building, Planning and Zoning, Bonner Environmental Alliance, Panhandle Health District 1, the Lakes Commission, Idaho Conservation League, Lake Pend Oreille Waterkeeper, City of Dover, Idaho Department of Agriculture, and Beyond Hope Incorporated. Notice of application published in the Bonner County Bee on March 23rd and March 30, 2021. Comments from DEQ received on April 8. Comment from Fish and Game received on April 9. 2 comments from ITD received April 20. Objection to the application from Rick Aletta at the adjacent Hope Marina received on April 20th. The notice of appointment of hearing coordinator and the notice of hearing. Comments from Toby Carlson received on May 26th. The applicant's exhibits received on June 7th. State Department of Agriculture responses received on June 7th. IDL exhibits received on June 7th. Recoletta's exhibits received on June 7th, and several other exhibits that have been received through today, just this afternoon. We have, here we go. We had today we received a comment from the Idaho Transportation Department and we have received exhibits E, F. I will take additional comments during the hearing as follows. First, from the applicant or their representative. Next, from the objector or their representative. Other public witnesses who have signed up to provide comments, and I don't believe we have any yet. Mike is getting up to check. Idaho Department of Land staff. And the applicant will be given an opportunity to respond to the issues raised and make closing remarks. Before I begin taking comments, I'd like to go over just a couple more items. Please be respectful and courteous to everyone who is on the Zoom call. The hearing is being recorded. Please be sure to speak clearly. There will be no swearing in tonight. This is a public hearing and we're taking public comments, so please direct all of your comments to me. I may ask questions of those providing comments to fully ensure I understand those comments, and also to make sure I understand the application. But there will be no cross-examination or questioning by anyone else. I may limit testimony if it is duplicative, or ask a presenter to remain on task if the testimony starts to wander. Presenters may defer to legal counsel or specialists as needed. If you wish to provide written comments, please submit them to me either following your comments or to Mike, and he'll route them to me. Written comments will be afforded the same weight as all verbal comments that are taken today. Are there any questions before we begin accepting testimony? None? Okay.
We have one question, Eric. We did send an exhibit G, but it came late, so I don't know if you have that yet.
We do have that, and it is posted on our hearing website.
Oh, okay. Okay, great.
Okay, anyone else? Great, well, as I call your name, please unmute and start your testimony. So with that, I would ask Mr. Smith or any of his folks to start us off.
All right, thank you, Eric. Again, I'm Laurence Smith, one of the general partners of Creek Marina, and my brother Curtis Smith is the other general partner.
Hello, Eric.
And this is John King, who's a good friend of ours, and he's our advisor, as you would say, in this process. So he could be answering your questions maybe a little more logically than me, and he can maybe say a few words too about his qualifications. As you can see by the postings of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, we've been busy the last few days, and we've been busy doing that because we've wanted to answer the concerns and comments from the three parties that did have concerns or comments. And as people can all see that, we have made some substantial changes to our original plans, and hopefully we've addressed those concerns. That was saying that, I'll let John say a few words.
Thanks for the opportunity to hopefully clear up any questions that anybody might have. We're pleased that you're doing this hearing. Hopefully we can set things straight and proceed. What?
Okay. Do you have anything else, Mr. Smith, or is that
Well,
it?
not at this point. Thanks for the opportunity, but we look forward to generating a little more income and having a little pump up for the economy of Idaho, and having some people enjoy the lake like we get to. So, and we're not going too over the top. We're not talking about reinventing the wheel with hundreds of berths. So we appreciate that.
Okay, well, I do have a few questions for you or for any of your two associates there. So I'll go ahead and start off, and then you can delegate those questions to one of the others as needed.
Okay.
One question is, what is the lake bed profile under the existing and the proposed dock?
John, profile as to depths
Yeah.
at high water, low water?
Yes. Yeah, especially during the normal boating season, high water. What are the depths under your dock as you get out to the end of it, and does it slope gradually, or does it drop off suddenly?
No, it's fairly gradual. It'll probably be really close to 20 feet at the 22 feet at the end of the new construction. And
about now is about 20 feet.
And at the end of the existing construction is probably around 20. So it doesn't really veer much deeper there, the way the profile of the lake is, because we're not going that much further into the lake, and we're moving more in a northern direction as opposed to westerly. Right at, of course, the start, it's only 3 feet deep, or
Waist deep.
about just waist deep, where the fixed pier that comes off of the land. It's a fairly gradual decline. Riser Creek has done some interesting things over the years that we've been here. Has had some kind of spring events where we lose some depth, and we've addressed that recently, which is part of, you're familiar with that. So there might have been some change in the profile of the dock all the way out, but it's fairly gradual. And the new proposed berth will be deep water, 12-month a year type of spots.
Okay, great, thank you. What is the extent of your littoral rights on this lakeside property?
It broke up a little. Did you get it?
The extent of the littoral rights
Oh, the littoral rights.
on our lakeside property. Well, now your question is, how far do they go into the lake? Is that the question?
How far, particularly up to the north, do they go?
Well, quite a ways. There, where that littoral line is more than 25 feet from where the proposed development's going to be. So it's further than the 25 setback there. And on the southern side, it's definitely much further than 25 feet away. The existing dock is 32 feet from the littoral line where it starts, and then it goes out to a point and then turns 10 degrees. So then it even becomes further from the, and that span is 150 feet. So at that point, it's, don't have the exact figure here, but it's way beyond 25 feet.
Way beyond 32 feet.
And way beyond 32 feet, right?
Okay, and you said it was about 150 out at the end of the dock on that south side?
That's where the angle changes to the 150 feet of at the 10 degrees. So before that, there is a 50-foot dock section that is 32 feet from the littoral line. And then there's a ramp and a fixed pier that also is all parallel there.
I'll just clarify in case there's
Yeah.
any confusion that the 150-foot length is the length of the dock. That's what he was,
Of the three
sections,
sections.
Yeah, three 50-footers.
350-foot sections.
Okay, so out at the end of the proposed dock, how far is that from the littoral right line?
27 feet at a minimum.
Did you get that, Eric? 27 feet at a minimum?
Okay. Maybe a visual would help us out here. Chris, could you pull up the application? I think it's the third item in the record.
Okay, is this going to be the, Mr. Hearing Coordinator, it's going to be the applicant, the first applicant exhibit document?
This is application dated March 18th.
Okay, give me one moment. Let me go ahead and pull that up. Okay, and let me go ahead and get that shared. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
And what page would you like me to be on, or is this fine here?
I think page 9.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, there we go. And scroll down just a tiny bit. There we go. So in looking at this diagram in the application, out at the end of the
That's
proposed
25.
new docks, about how far are the new docks from that littoral right line bordering on Hope Marina?
I thought it was about more than 60 feet.
Mhm.
And if that's difficult to see, I can definitely zoom in if you need to as well.
Because those are 90 feet.
About 90
It's
feet.
90 feet.
90 feet, okay. And then moving to the north side of the property,
This is 20.
where is the end of your property? Where is that littoral right line?
It is right at, if you can see the last slip, that's the most northern one. The point closest to the shore, right at that point is 25 feet.
Okay, I see that there. Great, thank you.
And then it
Where-
gets
where does that
wider out
intersect?
further, and it, of course, is a lot of space be closer to the shore there.
Right, right. So where does that intersect the shore? Is it just an extension of that straight line?
Yes, right.
Okay,
That might show it better in another drawing.
It's on the other side of Rider Creek.
Yeah.
It's on the north side bank of Riser Creek, and that shows on different county plots. And
Okay, great, thank you. And I understand that you lease the littoral rights from Curtis. What's the duration of that lease?
We made it, we didn't put a duration on it. So he's basically, of course, Curtis is one of the general partners, so we're leasing it from the Curtis Trust to the Riser Creek Marina Partnership.
Okay, thank you. Okay, a couple questions about square footage of the docks. What is the approximate square footage of the current dock? And then how much square footage is being added in the new construction?
Well, you know the new, I'll
We
figure the old.
we figured that and included it.
Maybe I missed that in the application. If you could direct me to that, that would be great.
Let me go downstairs and get those papers.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see if I can find it, because I remember calculating that. I put it in the application.
I can figure this exactly for him, Kurt. So help me here.
Okay, 6.
It's because you got 12. And then you've got, this guy is 4 feet times
18.
times 18. Times 18, 72. And this little,
Right, it's like 4 feet.
that's 24. 4 times 4,
And then,
96. And then this little part here, 10.
yeah,
So that's 40. 40 plus 96. Plus
Okay, I have the proposal.
1200. Okay, so the existing
you got the
is just, it's approximately, but it's very close, 1408, 1408.
Page in here. Anyway, so the proposed, the total,
Okay, so just
3,908.
3908.
Yeah.
And the new is 2,500 feet,
Square feet.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
The new is 2,500. Now, does that include, that doesn't include the breakwater?
No,
No, 2,500 feet for the new.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, this 8 feet here, that's, we're picking up square.
So how many morages exist right now and how many are going to be added with the addition?
There's 8 right now, and there is potentially 6 additional, if you count side ties on the additional.
Great, thank you. And are all of those morages to be rented out for the full year, or do you have some day use
No,
that's
there's
reserved for some of the morages?
seasonal.
They're seasonal because there's no water and
Personal.
and then there's also personal too. But there's not year round, no, for much of the existing. There's only enough water for 3 boats to be right now year round.
Are any of the morages set aside for day use?
No,
No,
Well-
I got one for day use right now.
Okay, yeah, there is one for day use.
Okay. So the application stated that there were 11 parking spaces available. But then on June 7th, the materials that you submitted stated there were only 7 parking spaces. Could you clarify how many parking spaces there will actually be on your property?
On the beach side part of the parcel, there'll be 7 legal parking spaces.
That's in one of the exhibits, isn't it?
Yeah, that's one of the exhibits that we sent is.
Right, and
it's,
let me,
It's
let's
probably, it's
see.
D. I think it's D.
When we came up with 11, some of those we found to be in the ITD right of way, so that they were removed.
Okay, great. Chris, could I have you jump to, let's see, applicants exhibit A through D that was received on the 7th of June?
Yes, let me go ahead and get that pulled up.
And I think it's the last page that has the diagram.
Yeah, there it is.
Yep.
Perfect.
Okay.
Actually, the zoomed in one might be a little better. Okay, so I see slots numbered 1 through 7, and I see the, yeah, scroll up, just there we go, perfect, right there. And I see the entrance there. I guess it's not real clear how the traffic flow is going to work with those parking spots. I'm not sure how folks are going to access, for instance, parking slots 1 through 7 without running into each other, unless I'm missing something here.
No, they will come down the access and they will access through the right of way, but it's part of the driveway down. And then they will back, they'll have to back and then turn around. They'll have to back up, like backing out of the parallel parking spaces. But there is plenty of room there at the end of 5 before the
6 and 7.
and 6 and 7. There's plenty of room there to make a 180-degree turnaround and then head back up the hill. There, the contour lines there are only 1 foot apart, so there's only like 2 feet of fall there for quite a bit of space, probably 45, 50 feet.
Okay, great, that helps. So they will be expected to drive through that right-of-way area, just not.
Well, just like when they're driving down the hill, they're driving through it. It's
Right. Okay, great, thank you. That helps me visualize it a little bit better. Okay, and let's see, moving on. So this same document, and I believe the application refers to GIAs. And I'm not sure I completely understand what a GIA
It's
is.
a
Could you,
grassy infiltration area. That's what we were explained what that means. And so that runoff doesn't just run straight into the lake, that you've got a grass border there.
Kind of a swale for it to soak into.
And it kind of has a swale to it.
okay, great. Thank
Mm.
you.
And we restored that after the work that was done for Rising Creek. It's coming along really good now. It's, the geese are liking the new stuff.
Okay. Let's see. And you had mentioned in one of your recent submittals that Bonner County had approved the driveway access 10 years ago. Do you have a copy of that?
Yeah, there's a copy in the paperwork I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't submit that, but of course, it's in their approval.
So was that part of the planning and zoning process that you went through for Bonner County?
Right,
Conditional.
for our conditional use permit and for the commercial approval, right?
Okay. And then I guess you're in the process of getting a joint commercial access permit from ITD. Do you have an idea what that timeline is?
Well, it's going to be quick. They've notified us that we need to do it within 10 days or at least contact them, but we've already contacted them today. So
Is that notice today?
notice today, it's apparently it's a $75 fee, and there's going to be, I mean, that we're in progress to that.
We got the application and the instructions for filling it out and already started in on that process.
Okay, great. Do you have any idea how long it takes those to get processed through ITD?
No.
We don't. We're hoping it's not too long.
Understood. Okay. So your littoral right line on the north side of the property, who is the next adjacent littoral landowner north of that?
Right, that's Creek Marina. Charlie Kramer,
Or commercial,
which is
Okay.
right next to us, the highway department.
Yeah.
but the rest of the land between us and him on the shore side is owned by the state and the highway. So it's quite a ways, about 500 yards away, I'd say.
Easily. Then.
Yeah,
Okay, but in between there, it's just the highway.
right.
Okay, great, thank you. And we have the information now. You submitted some materials this afternoon about the wave attenuator. One thing I'm looking for though is what are the anticipated wave heights and wavelengths that the wave attenuator will be designed to counter?
6 feet. But I don't know the interval.
Is that what it's, that's true, 6 feet?
Yeah.
It's 6 feet for the wave height, is what it's designed for. The interval, we're not quite sure of, but
Yeah.
it's a substantial
I haven't seen anything on that.
system, what we're proposing for that. And
It's the same systems that have been installed at terraces on Lake Coeur d'Alene. Hagedon's has some of it. It was also installed in the Fort Jefferson dry tortugas in Florida. Of course, they get greater wave heights there. Hurricane hits. I've been there.
Luckily, we don't have hurricanes.
I've been through that. And there were a couple, oh, Glacier National Park. They also installed that system there.
Okay, and so the size of the proposed wave attenuator is designed for those 6-foot wave heights.
Correct.
Okay, yes, we have drawings, great. All right, I think at this point, those are all the questions I have for Mr. Smith and his team. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
And now I'd like to invite Mr. Aletta to go ahead and offer his testimony for tonight.
Yeah, maybe I muted.
Yeah, mute your.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a few questions that we'd like to put out there. First of all, I see they changed their plan for the breakwater to move it in, not continue it on as is. And that, I mean, we're okay with that. If that really is, if you're gonna allow that to happen, that's a better plan in our view. We also would like to let everyone know that we are not against people building marinas. We're all for if someone wants to dive in and go up, build a marina. I've built 3 in my lifetime, worked on 3, built 2 here. And I know that there are a lot of work, and when we built this last one here, which I want to make clear also, we bought a marina. We didn't build this marina. We just put it back. When we bought this marina, it was 136 slips. We put it back. So when we did that, you made us do a lot of things, which I understand and are important to do. And some of them are, we had to do a wave study and we had to do a shadow study on what it does to the bottoms. You guys made us do that. We had to do traffic studies. We had to have our ingress, egress in and off the highway to commercial standards. We also needed to make sure we were commercial. I'm not so sure that the Riser Creek Marina is officially a commercial marina. I know their access is not a commercial access. So these are all the issues that you make Charlie Kramer do, you make Ralph Sletterga do, and you've made us do. So if someone's gonna build another marina, they also should follow this. We should all be playing on the same rule book. Somehow things seem to be going down next door without following the same rule book. We have a lot of additional traffic coming in and even Kurt Smith said, he sees our traffic go to his marina sometimes. So yes, people get confused. So we're seeing an awful lot of traffic come to our marina to go to his marina. And it's not really their fault. They're just coming to a marina and it looks like this is the way they go in. So they park. As a matter of fact, your own employee, when they came to look at the project of Kurt's, he parked in our parking lot and walked over because he didn't know where to park. So we have some big issues going on with parking and also with the facilities in general. They like to use our bathrooms. I don't know if these guys are planning on putting public bathrooms in. We also have a pump out. Are you gonna make them put a pump out? You made us put a pump out in.
Handicap restroom.
Now, handicap is a big one. I see no handicap parking, and that's double the parking spaces, which we had to put in. There's all sorts of commercial county codes that have to be put in place. Now, I do understand you guys are all about the water side officially. And then it goes to the county, and the county has to do the upland side. But it seems to me that before you grant them permission with docks, you at least give us the courtesy of, let's see if they can get through the county side first, and then say, okay, let's look at your docks. We think that's a much more fair way to do this. As far as I know, and what I've looked at, they got originally were given a conditional use permit for 2 commercial charter boats and 2 private boats. And then it's gone as many as 9 boats I've counted at. I have pictures and there's record of it at the county. You can speak with the county on all of this. There's tons of records of violations. They have a history of violations. You can look into that. It just goes on and on. Claire Marley will vouch for us. She used to work for the county. Somehow this whole marina has slipped under the radar. ITD is upset. We have all sorts of problems with this marina. I don't even, I don't know what else to tell you except you could look back at the record. It's all recorded. It's lots of it down on paper. They also are not mentioning their jet skis. They have additional jet skis. When we're talking boats, jet skis count as boats also. And they have 2 jet ski lifts. They're also proposing 30 to 50 foot, 30 to 40 foot slips. 30 to 40 foot slips come with 30 to 40 foot boats. 30 to 40 foot boats come with more than 1 car. They come with families, multiple cars, friends coming. They know as well as I know that there's a parking issue with this marina going on, with both marinas going on. And we're working really hard with Ponderay Shores also next door with their marina. We're all having parking issues. And to increase, double the size of the marina is basically what you're doing, is gonna bring a lot more traffic that I don't think we can all handle it. Those are our main concerns right there. I mean, and it's all recorded. This isn't made up, it's all recorded. I have a webcam out. You can log on and look over there. At any day of the week, our webcam shows their docks. So, that's pretty much what I have to say. So the way we feel right now is we would like you to hold off on giving them their permit till they can get through all their other hurdles with ITD, which is a big one, and Bonner County. And if they can get through all that, more power to them, we're fine with them. Let them build their marina. But personally, I don't think they're going to get through it. And you giving them permits for docks now before is ridiculous. It's a cart before the horse. And that's my thoughts on this. It's not about competition. We all know there's not enough slips on this lake. They said it and they're correct. And we need more public access, but we need smart public access, not more chaos. That's my stand on this. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I got a couple questions for you. Finish jotting down some notes. Let's see. So in your letter, you mentioned a couple things. One of the things you mentioned was restaurant parking at your marina. And is the restaurant parking through the north or the south side of your marina?
South side.
Okay.
We share, our entrance is shared with Ponderay Shores Resort. And we work really well with those guys. We've had our rubs and we've always worked through them. Lisa Durr and I have gone for years and years working our problems out. We have to work as a team. Even when we disagree, we always sit down and go, okay, we got to figure this out because it's to both our benefits. We have issues with their boats and they have issues with our boats. So we try to work together. And they have no dogs allowed and people park in our parking lot and leave their dogs in the car and just things like that we have to work through.
Okay, great. Well, we appreciate you working those things out before they get up to us. That's always a good thing. And then you also mentioned a sewer pump out and a fuel dock at your marina, are those accessed through the north or the south side of your marina?
North and south. You go behind the breakwater, you can get to them in either direction. And I'd like to keep it that way, you know. It's a flow through system. I designed it that way. That's why it's popular for the pump out and for the fueling, because it's, and large boats, because it's 360 feet of side tie dock. That's all guest parking or fuel or pump out.
So it's on your breakwater?
It's not inside the breakwater. The breakwater sits away ahead from front of it.
It's a channel between the two.
I'm not so sure these breakwaters that are going in right now, and even Charlie Kramer says it, who's installing them, that they're gonna hold up to these waves. I'm not so sure a dock setting on top of it it works well on a calmer water situation, like on the river. Dover Bay just put one in. I think it'll work good there. We'll see how it works. It's because Ralph just put one in at Holiday Shores, similar to the one that the Smiths are looking at. And hopefully it does work, because if it works, then we'd like to upgrade to it one day, but they can be the test guinea pig on these since they're very expensive. You know, we're probably looking at $500,000 to replace our breakwater. So Charlie's not sure it's gonna hold up either. So we're gonna all watch it.
Okay, great, thank you. Let's see. Do you have any signs out on your breakwater or outer dock to help direct people?
We have guest parking signs, and we have no wake signs,
And a fuel dock sign.
and a fuel dock sign out on the dock, but no, we don't have any arrows saying enter this way or enter from the north or the south or enter this way only, nothing like that. We've thought about that. It's something we have thought about.
We had no problems at all with entrance or exit.
It's a 75-foot wide channel between the guest dock, fuel dock, and the breakwater.
And it's been going on for 24 years.
24 years we've been running it.
Okay, great, thank you.
So a pump out is a concern.
So I guess,
I'm sorry, are you gonna require pump out for them if you let this go? Because it would sure help.
I am not prepared to answer that question. We'll have to review the application, the testimony, and the relevant rules that we administer.
I thought, my understanding, I might not be right, is all new marina developments need to have a pump out.
Yeah, I'd have to review our rules. I think that may be a county requirement. I'm not sure it's in the IDL requirements, but again, that's something we'll be looking into. So when we were talking about signs and the boat traffic, I take it that since you have been there for that many years, the current patrons, they know where your facilities are, and they're not confused about where things are. They know where to go. Is that correct?
Well, it was correct until the last 2 years. We've had such growth here now that last year being a rough year for a lot of new people, just trying to figure it out. Signage is a good thing. We've been putting more and more signage up. The problem with signage at marinas is you think you have it in a good spot, and then the boat pulls in and ties up and they can't see it. So it's a constant battle of where do you put a sign on a dock. But yeah, we're not against signage. We're always trying to make things flow better. We have the restaurant. We have 14 designated slips for the restaurant, plus 200-foot section of the outer dock side tie for the restaurant guests. So we do have a lot of guest parking and
Dock parking and dock.
and dock car and boat traffic. Best we can do it. But as you know, our county is growing and it's busy. Like I said, we're all for growth with these marinas, but we need to have smart growth, not just throw more slips in and think it's going to work. I was naive 27 years ago, and I ate a lot of crow and a lot of humble pie by government agencies, and they turned out to be correct. I hate to admit it, but it's kind of true. You need space. right on down to the floodplain. I don't know if you've got into that, but you made us raise. We couldn't build or put a parking lot in without raising our ground up by 2 feet when we did build,
Which was the 100-year floodplain.
which that property went underwater. So
Yeah, I believe those are county requirements for the floodplain, partially administered through the Department of Water Resources.
Right.
yeah,
That's why all the other agencies are such an important part of this whole equation, to make sure everything is met before the permit is granted.
Handicap has become a
Right.
big deal. We've had to do a lot of changes for handicap, and I don't know, handicap parking is a huge thing.
Handicap restrooms.
Handicap restrooms, I have to even have a way to get handicap off the dock. I'm getting questioned about that, so we've had to make sure we can do that. I don't know if that's even in the permit process with you guys.
It's not. I think that's more of a county requirement and perhaps a federal requirement for
It's
for
like,
handicap access.
And do you require restrooms for your public now that they want to be a commercial marina?
and if they have a day use dock, where do they use the restrooms? Where are they?
Well, if they have a big enough boat, I guess they have a built-in restroom.
As long as the boat's there and they're not waiting for the boat to come in.
The charter.
Okay, great. Well, I think those are all the questions I have for you. Again, thank you very much for attending, and stay tuned here, and we'll have some more directions here through the next few minutes. So moving on next to, I don't believe there's any public testimony. Is there anybody there, Mike?
No, there's not. Again, I checked the parking lot a couple minutes after the hearing started, and then after the hearing started, I had a phone call, and I ran out to the front desk, and it wasn't for the hearing. So nobody here, no one tried to call in, just myself.
Okay, great. Then I think it's time for you to give testimony, Mike. So go ahead.
Okay. In light of some of the comments that came up today, Mr. Hearing Officer, this hearing statement is a little modified from the original one that was submitted a couple days ago. At the close of the hearing, I will submit it to hearing coordinator Courtney Romine so she could get it to you. I'd like to point out a couple other things following the earlier testimony today. The IDL's encroachment permits do not excuse compliance with other laws. And we also have the fact that applicants need to comply with other local laws and agencies as a term and condition in our permit. We do not have any pump out language at all in our IDAPA code for marinas. And I'd also like to point out that although I don't think we received any comment back from Bonner County, when we notified the local agencies, we did notify 2 different Bonner County folks about it, including the planning department. So with that being said, I'll get into my statement. I will read through the statement that's already been submitted. Again, it's going to be modified just a little ways, mainly because of the removal of the breakwater. And I will also skip over the rules and provisions and code that were reviewed to kind of just save time since it's already been submitted as part of the record. So good evening. My name is Mike Amer, and I am the Lands Resource Supervisor for the MICA Area Supervisory Office of Idaho Department of Lands, IDL, and I'm the supervisor of the Navigable Waters program at IDL. My purpose in being here today is to provide you with information regarding IDL's assessment of application for encroachment permit number L96S691E, filed by Laurence Smith, Riser Creek Marina. The applicant is seeking an encroachment permit to add 4 slips to an existing commercial marina dock on Lake Pend Oreille. The applicant has an existing encroachment permit, L-96S0691D, issued on November 2nd, 2020, which authorizes a 4-foot by 65-foot pier approach, a 4-foot by 25-foot ramp, a 6-foot by 50-foot floating dock, then a 4 foot by 14 ramp, and then 3 6 by 50 float docks with piling for commercial charter boats and the removal of creek rock at the mouth of Riser Creek, just downstream of Highway 200. On June 3rd, 2020, IDL received a revised drawing for the marina facility showing there was an 8 by 16 and 6 by 20 kayak docks added to the north of the main dock system. It should be noted that due to the angle of the existing dock system, the kayak docks fall within the footprint of the commercial marina facility, and an encroachment permit was not needed for those conditions. The kayak docks should have been called out in the latest permit, 691D, when the removal of creek rock was permitted, and IDL recommends that the kayak docks be added to the permit if the current application is approved and if they want to remain having kayak docks at the facility. IDL also notes that the owner of the Upham or Littoral property, the Curtis Richard Smith 1993 Revocable Living Trust, has leased the Littoral property to Riser Creek Marina. Finally, when the applicant provided his exhibits to IDL and the parties, he stated that he was withdrawing his application for the breakwater and would instead be using a wake wave attenuator on the north and south side of the dock. IDL will provide analysis of both options below. As far as the timeline is concerned, on March 16th, 2021, the applicant submits encroachment permit application for 4 additional boat slips and that breakwater. On March 17th, 2021, IDL sends an email to applicant informing him the application was incomplete and additional information was required. On March 18th of 21, IDL receives the additional information requested for a complete application. On March 19th of 21, IDL mails a courtesy application notice to adjacent neighbor Beyond Hope Inc., submits a copy of the application to applicable federal, state, and local resource agencies and organizations, and contacts the Bonner County Daily Bee newspaper to run advertisements regarding the application. On March 22nd of 21, Idaho Department of Agriculture Invasive Species Program Specialist Kim Holzer responds to IDL regarding the application, stating the importance of inspecting in-water construction equipment prior to leaving the construction site to prevent the spread of invasive species that are present at the project location, which is Ellisport Bay. On March 23rd and March 30th of 21, advertisement is run in the Bonner County Daily Bee. On April 8th of 21, IDL received feedback from Idaho Department of Environmental Quality stating no comment on the application. On April 9th of 21, IDL received feedback from Idaho Department of Fish and Game stating they do not have any comments to submit for this proposal. On April 15th, IDL received an objection letter from Rick Aletta, owner and operator of the adjacent Hope Marina, and IDL received the $75 payment and request for public hearing on April 20th of 21. Also on April 20th of 21, IDL received comment from Idaho Transportation Department stating they were not in support of the proposed improvements to Riser Creek. And then finally, on May 4th of 21, IDL Director Dustin Miller issues a notice of appointment of hearing coordinator and hearing. Mr. Hearing Officer, I'll skip over the applicable rules with IDAPA and statutes that were reviewed. And skip over to the section that states IDL's analysis of the application's compliance with the LPA and IDAPA rules. At the outset, IDL notes that the concerns raised by the objectors include a conditional use permit with the Bonner County Planning Department and upland parking locations. IDL has no jurisdiction over conditional permits issued by the county, nor where people can and cannot park to access facility. IDL has no jurisdiction over issues above the ordinary or artificial high water mark. Littoral ownership. Applicant is a lessee of one littoral parcel on Lake Pend Oreille. Parcel ID number RP 56N01E018001A with approximately 180 feet of water frontage. Applicant is therefore a littoral lessee with littoral rights. Type of encroachment. Applicant already has an existing encroachment permit for a 4x65 pier approach, 4x25 ramp, 6x50 floating dock, 4x14 ramp, and 3 6x50 float docks with piling for commercial charter boats, as well as the removal of the creek rock at mouth of Riser Creek. Applicant is seeking a permit for an additional 4 boat slips. Applicant is asking for a revised commercial marina encroachment permit. As far as shoreline length goes, IDAPA does not have any specific requirements for minimum shoreline length for commercial marina encroachments. Additionally, IDAPA does not have any specific requirements for square footage, minimums or maximums for commercial marina encroachments. Line of navigability. The proposed dock addition and breakwater appears to be at the same distance set by the adjacent Hope Marina. The proposed encroachments do not appear to extend beyond the established line of navigability for this particular area on Lake Pend Oreille. Distance from littoral lines. There is a presumed adverse effect if a commercial marina is located closer than 25 feet from adjacent littoral lines. The proposed additional slips and breakwater, the proposed additional slips will be more than 25 feet from littoral lines on the side of the encroachment per the submitted drawings. The exact distance to the littoral line on the north is listed as 25 plus, and the distance from the proposed dock on the south is listed at 32 feet. IDL recommends that applicant be required to provide IDL with the distance from the end of the slips to the littoral line located to the south. Parking requirements. IDAPA 20.03.04.015.03.c provides that if local city or county ordinances governing parking requirements for marinas have not been adopted, commercial marinas must provide a minimum of upland vehicle parking equivalent to 1 parking space per 2 public watercraft. Bonner County has an existing ordinance governing parking requirements for marinas that are similar in nature to the requirements listed in IDAPA, which for Bonner County is Title 12, Chapter 432. Available moorage. IDAPA 20.03.04.015.03a provides that marinas must have a minimum of 50% of their moorage available to the general public on either a first come, first served basis or a rent or lease agreement for a period of up to 1 year. Applicant has provided information regarding available moorage at the marina and how 100% of it will be available to the public on a first come, first served basis. Wave attenuator. When applicant provided his exhibits, he stated he was withdrawing his request for a breakwater. Instead, applicant indicated that he wants to include wake wave attenuation in the structure of the north-south dock. Generally, wave attenuant features are not included in the square footage of a dock so long as they do not extend beyond the footprint of the dock. Typically, IDL sees wave attenuator boards placed alongside the dock underwater, usually connected to pilings or pylons. Applicant has provided information on the wave attenuation system, and it appears consistent with what IDL has seen and permitted in the past. Conclusion. Based on IDL's review of the application, as well as the existing permit file, IDL concludes that the application appears to meet the required 25-foot adjacent littoral step back for commercial navigational encroachments and does not extend beyond the established line of navigability. Bonner County already has ordinances in place with regard to parking requirements for commercial marinas, so IDL does not have an applicable parking requirement. IDL notified Bonner County regarding the application and did not receive any comments or feedback. IDL does not have any jurisdiction over upland issues, such as where customers may park or how sharp and steep the turnoff the main highway is to reach the facility. The objectors also raised concerns about the proposed encroachments and how they may confuse the common voter. IDL does not have authority in statute or rule to address that issue. However, it appears the applicant addresses that concern by removing the request for a breakwater. This application appears to meet the applicable legal requirements for what it has provided information, and IDL recommends approval. If approved, IDL requests applicant provide a new drawing without the breakwater, including the kayak docks if they are to remain. That is the end of my statement, Mr. Hearing Officer. And as I stated, I'll send you a copy of the revised statement at the end of the hearing.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mike. So just a couple quick questions for you. I was mean and I made the Smiths do some math on the fly at the start. They estimated the square footage of the current dock was about 1,408 square feet and the proposed addition was about 2,500 square feet. Does that sound about right without getting out your calculator?
To be honest with you, Mr. Hearing Officer, I haven't done a calculation on it, so I have no idea. But we could do it pretty quick based on, based on the permit. There are 4 6x50s. Which is 1,200 square feet. And then there's a 4x25, which is 100. A 4x14, which is 56. And then a 4x65, which is 260. So I'd say 1,200 plus 100 plus 56 plus 260. Came up with 1616. I came up with 1616 for the existing.
Great, thank you. So given your experience with littoral rights, who would you say is the littoral landowner to the northwest of the lot that we're talking about tonight?
It's an interesting question, Mr. Hearing Officer. I guess if you were to look at, I have my laptop next to me. I guess if you were to look at Bonner County's parcel webpage, which is a tool we use quite often, it appears that it would be Charlie Kramer, as stated earlier. And I could measure how far that distance is from the two parcel locations. And it appears to be over 1,600 feet away. It almost appears that they wouldn't really have it almost appears they would not have an adjacent, immediately adjacent neighbor to the north of the parcel.
So nobody would be applying for docks in that stretch to the north of them?
No.
Okay. Great, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay, well, those are all the questions I had. So at this point, are there any closing comments that the applicant would like to make?
Here, just clicked our unmute. Go ahead, Sean.
You know, the only thing that really occurred to me is the ADA requirements. And I regulated the ADA from its inception in the mid 1980s. And space 5 and space 7 on their parking plan are wide enough to meet the regulations. And there's a bathroom in the trailer for, let's say, day use or whatever use. Most of the boats have bathrooms on board, as was mentioned previously. That's about all I have for notes, other than, you know, things that really aren't central to this hearing or within your authorities or jurisdiction.
Okay, great, thank you. So with that, we've had a lot of new materials get brought in late today. And I am a little concerned that not all the parties have been able to review all of those documents before the hearing tonight. So And in addition, there's a couple things that I think need to be added to the record, so we have a nice clean record. So I would propose that we keep the record open for a specific period of time so the applicant can supply a few more materials and then give Mr. Aletta a reasonable period of time to review those materials and IDL if desired, and provide comments back to IDL on those additional materials. And at that point, we could then close the record and I could compile all those materials and come to a preliminary order. So that's kind of the direction I'm heading, just due to the late arrival of so much of this new material and the design changes that came in at this late date. So just to kind of get a general feel for how you folks think that will work, ask the applicant first. Does that sound workable if we gave you a short list of materials? Could you get those together in a week or two?
Yeah. Just you'll email or contact us.
Okay. And then for Mr. Aletta, would that work for you if we gave you a couple of weeks after those materials are received to offer additional comments?
Yep, that works for me. I'll be talking with the county. They've already got in contact with me, and Idaho Department of Transportation got a hold of me today too. And so I think after everybody reviews the latest information, things will probably clear itself up.
Okay. Well, let's do that then. I will go ahead and give Mr. Smith a short list of things that we're looking for so that we make sure we have all the information we need and to make a decision. So at the current time, one of the requirements is a lake bed profile. So I would like a lake bed profile that shows the depth of the water from the shore out to the end of the proposed dock. And I would also like to see a tally of the total square feet of the existing and the proposed encroachment. That is also a requirement in our rules. And you had some drawings of the proposed wave attenuator. That's great. Unfortunately, those drawings did not have any dimensions on them. So if you could get us a drawing that shows the depth of that wave attenuator, that would be very helpful for us to make a decision on that. And we had talked a little bit about the anticipated wave heights. If you have some meteorological observations or some calculations relating to what are those anticipated wave heights, I would ask that you please give those to us. We just want to make sure, again, this is a requirement in the rules that these wave attenuators or breakwaters or whatever they're called have sufficient design to withstand those anticipated wave sizes. Okay, and see, I believe you said you had a copy of your Bonner County approval from 10 years ago, which included your driveway access. If you could supply that, that would be great. And then the last thing I have noted is you submitted a scale drawing of those littoral right lines, but the distance out at the end of the proposed dock to the littoral right line was not included. You estimated that it was about, let me see here on my note. You estimated it was about 90 feet, but if you could get a scale drawing that shows that with the distance, that would be most helpful. And we will include this list of items in a some sort of an order that would go out maybe later this week. Hopefully we can get that turned around in a day or two and get that emailed out to folks. Basically just documenting and writing what we just talked about. Okay, does that still sound workable to you, Mr. Smith?
Yes, that's workable. That's giving us a heads up of what to look for, but you'll send us actually the order of and any other details you want.
Okay.
Correct, in a few days, you'll be getting that to us?
Yeah, that's correct. And then we would expect those materials to be submitted within 2 weeks of that order.
Okay,
And then we'll give Mr. Aletta 2 weeks to review, and IDL, Mr. Amer, if he wants to offer any comments, he'll have that 2 week period also. And then after that 2 weeks, we will close the record and come to a decision. Okay. Are there any other questions for this evening?
I have one question. Is it possible for a piece of property to still get a commercial dock if they don't have access to it? Or commercial access to it?
Are you talking about, for instance, access off the state highway?
Right.
That's a great question. I'm not sure I have an answer for you. Typically, we look at that as an upland issue. We do like to coordinate to the extent possible with our sister agencies, but you know, it does appear to be an upland issue, and that's really all I'm prepared to say at the current time.
All right, just kind of wondering if that's ever been done before, where you say, well, they don't have a commercial entranceway, can't be pulled off because it just doesn't fit the parameters of ITD, but we're going to give them a commercial dock so people can come in by water all they want. Is that something that can happen?
Theoretically.
Okay, interesting. All right, that's all I have to say.
Okay, great. Well, thank you all very much. I think we made it through. We're still recording. That's fantastic. Thank you, Chris, for all your help. And with that, we will close out the hearing for tonight. And hopefully you'll see an order in a day or two. Thanks again. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.